I just want to do something that I'm going to commit to.
I'm
Right.
so compelled to share, to pull other people out of their situation.
And I'm giving hope to women just like me who, probably felt unseen or probably.
It's just about finding what you love and what you're passionate about.
Do what you love. Do what you love.
And I really realized that this is what happens once you let go. You just create all that space,
It's about helping each other. It's about growing with each other. It's about being true to self.
To whom much is given, much is required.
You only ever have one obstacle, and that's yourself.
Commit to change. Change your life. Change your future.
Hey, and welcome to the Commit to Change, otherwise known as C2C podcast that gives a voice to the people who may be considered a small fry in their industry, but are doing big things in their communities. This is Miss Nikki, the Jane of all trades, but the master at living. I am committed to introducing local VIPs, which are vivaciously inspiring people to encourage you on your daily journey, as well as let you know what is possibly happening in your area. We come back to you again. You want to hear something crazy? Another person from New Jersey. What? I am just bringing the East Coast in the house. Let me introduce to you, before I tell you about her bio, let me introduce to you Helaina Jeannot. Please say hello.
Hello. How are you?
Well, I'm good. The audience, hopefully they're saying they're good too.
I'm sure they are.
Well, let me give you a little synopsis about Helaina, let you know who do we have here on the show today. Again, her name is Helaina Jeannot. She is an entrepreneur, consultant, podcaster, and a mom that has dedicated her life to teach the middle class how to move away from the dependency of the employee mindset. She has worked as an executive assistant for many years and later became a real estate agent. Helaina eventually began to create partnerships with different organizations where she acted as an economic development consultant to rebuild distressed communities and worked with small businesses to help them understand, develop, and implement a structure that would provide long-term success. After joining a wealth creation network, Helaina started a communal movement called Middle Class to Wealthy. It focuses on building wealth in the community through community education, relationships, goal setting, and achievement. As an extension of her movement, Helaina started a podcast as a vessel to expand her audience to her message. Helaina believes in people, doesn't believe in norms, and believes that we can achieve anything we want. We just need to be clear of what we want. Her goal is to help make the masses aware that our strength is in our size, our skills, our talents, and our ability to work together to build anything. We need to stop giving away our power and our money and become a resource to ourselves, because we are limitless, and the only thing holding us back is what we believe. Again, welcome to the C2C podcast, Miss Helaina Jeannot.
That was beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
You are so welcome. How is it over there, the weather in Jersey? It looks
okay. It's bright, but it's a little bit of overcast, and I hope it doesn't rain. But it's fine. How about over there?
Rain is life. I wish it would rain over here. It's dry. It's dry and it's hot. Yes.
Okay, I got you.
I don't mind the heat.
Maybe our rain will go over there because I don't want to go there.
Yeah, it very. I think the whole time that I've been here, it maybe rained twice, and I've been here since December.
Really?
Yes.
That's not a lot of rain.
Not at all. And I have to say, I'm saying like in my particular town or city, whatever. And if it did, it was like an overnight sprinkle. You know, I wouldn't have known by the morning because it was already dry, but it very rarely rains here. So that's
Wow.
something interesting. But I'm assuming as they go through different seasons, maybe there's more rain. I have no idea. I'm still learning the area. Yay.
Okay.
Well, Helaina, please tell us a little bit more about you and what you do. Let the audience get to know you a little better.
So I'll just say that I've been what you would call like a typical fit into classic society, a classic fit into society person before my awakening, right? And the reason why I say that is because like I thought I learned everything that I needed to learn when I needed to learn it. So high school, some college, kind of life experience, and then I've kind of arrived. And then through that, like I was going to continue to build, but like build in my career, not so much build myself and get what I want. I thought that what I wanted would come from the money I made from work. And one day I realized that I had it all wrong, that you'll never get what you need from working. Working is a partial solution to a much larger problem. We are not completely equipped for life in general. Like of all of the years that humans have been on this planet, there have been problems that happen to the masses, let's call it that way. So it might not hit everyone every time, but historically, these things are going to happen. And we are never prepared for them. And so I'm looking and I'm like, I just don't understand. Why aren't we being prepared for life? Like, it shouldn't be every time an emergency comes up. This is when we're trying to figure out how we're going to pay for it, how we're going to solve the problem. We should be working proactively to either avoid the problem or to be prepared to handle the problem as it comes.
So tell me, like, when you talk about your journey, now you're talking about your journey to awakening, but I want to kind of dive back into where your decision to bring the middle class to wealthy into fruition. Like, can you tell us what was your awakening a part of that process? Like give us an idea of what made you commit your life to this movement.
Okay, so the awakening was actually a journey, and I didn't realize until I got to that tail end. One day I met a very young kid, 23 years old, who just talked very differently. And so I'm like, who is this kid? You know, and what does he know that I don't know? And where did he learn it? And so, like I said, I getting here was a journey. And so I've always worked hard to figure out my situation. But then when I started listening to him talk, one day the light just came on. It was, I've always been paying attention to the wrong thing. So what he said is, I'm working on building assets. I am going to retire my parents and then retire myself.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, it doesn't hurt to listen, because my employee mindset would have said, who is this kid? What is he trying to sell me? And how much is it trying to cost me? But because I had left corporate America 3 times previously, now my mindset is completely different. So I'm at least open to listening and taking out what is going to work and leaving the rest. So I started listening, and the thing is, like, basically what he was talking about was putting money to work for us, but much more than that was putting our mind, like removing the limiting beliefs that we have. And so unlearning is not a very easy process.
No, ma'am, it isn't.
Because you think you know what you know, And, no one is going to talk you out of that. But those are the things that's harming us as a demographic. How is it that the masses is serving the few?
Right.
And so that was the awakening. That really was.
So tell us a little bit more in depth about the movement. What is middle class to wealthy?
Middle class to wealthy is to help first enlighten. So looking at your life personally, what are the things that are holding you back? And why do you think that way? Empowering. And so guiding you through. So like I've experienced a lot of things. If I haven't experienced something personally, I definitely know someone who may be able to help you. Why? Because we are a full network. So, so when you're experiencing some type of hardship or something that is in the way of your defined level of success, what can we do to move those barriers out of your way? Because if one person can achieve what you define as success, anyone can achieve it. We just need to figure out the solution. How do you do it? And so it is to look at a person holistically and say, okay, you know what? Instead of doing things this way, let's do them this way. Because when you do it this way, these are the obstacles you're going to face and you're going to keep hitting the same wall. But let's work around what's in your way so that, like, first you solve the problem, you learn from whatever the problem is, and then you can pass on that information when someone else is facing the problem.
And so what obstacles have you had to, or have you encountered since you decided to dedicate your life to this movement? And how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest obstacle I've encountered is getting out of my own way. So I'll give you an example. When I first joined the wealth creation movement, the network, I was working for myself. And in doing so, I could not sustain my household expenses. So I lost a lot of my credit cards and I faced foreclosure, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to go back to work. But I went back to work as a mechanism to be my investor. Now more so than before, that was my livelihood, right?
Right.
And so, so the plan was fix all of this stuff, and build and keep moving forward. And so I got back on track with the mortgage, and then I had reached out to the credit guy. That was, they had advised, go to the credit guy, see what he says, because for me, credit is very important, but I had my way of dealing with credit. I was going to pay off all my debt, reestablish, rebuild, because I've done it before. And so when I went to talk to the credit guy, he was like, I don't typically tell people to file for bankruptcy, but you need a do-over. They've already sold all your debt and you just need to start fresh. And I was dead set against it. Absolutely not. I didn't say that to him because, you have to be respectful, right? But in my mind, I was like, I'm not doing that. So I contacted all my creditors and I was trying to negotiate terms. So I didn't want to settle. I wanted to pay everything off, every dollar, but I wanted to do it over time. But because they had sold the debt, that's not what they're interested in. They want their quick little above whatever they paid for it so that they can close out this account and keep moving. And that's not what I want to do. Like, I accept that I did this, but I think part of it was ego and part of it was guilt. So when I saw that they were not willing to work with me in that way, I went back to the credit guy and he says, okay, this is what you do. And I went ahead and I filed bankruptcy. The reason why I tell this story is because I filed in October. In March, the debt was discharged. And my credit has been on the rise ever since. Now, had I did it the way that I thought I knew how to do it, I would still be struggling to pay the debt. My credit would still be tanked. I wouldn't be able to apply for new credit. So I would have been working backwards. But it was because of what I thought, not what I knew. And so that's why I said I had to get out of my own way, because there's just negative connotation that comes with filing for bankruptcy.
Yes, there are, because I know like years ago I thought about it, and I didn't want that ding on my credit, but I ended up getting ding on my credit for other stuff, and I was like, I might as well freaking file for bankruptcy. And the one thing I really wanted to file for was my darn loans for school, but apparently those don't count. So I'm gonna be forever paying those things off. Well, no, you know what? I'm not gonna speak that. I'm gonna speak positive that that I have $1 million in business revenue coming, and I'm gonna take care of all my educational debt and as well
And I'm
as my
glad
regular
that you
debt.
said that, because what you speak is what is. You get what I'm saying to you? And we speak so negatively to ourselves on a very regular basis.
Oh yeah.
And if you're not giving yourself positive messaging and the world is not giving you positive messaging, where are you going to get the positive messaging from?
Right. Exactly. And I mean, I have a whole conversation on mindset and being able to manifest things into your life, and manifesting unconsciously the things that you don't want. And what you just said right there is big, because people do, the negative. For some reason, people feel like you're being
I see what you're saying. Like arrogance.
Yes, that's the word. Yes.
Yes.
There's
And
an
no,
arrogance about it. And
the thing is, okay, so I'm going to bring it back a little bit, because I feel like this is what our educational system has been designed to do. It has been designed to lower our
beliefs in ourselves. Because we're supposed to believe in the system.
Yes. Because we are supposed to keep the system moving at our expense.
Right.
But if you believe in yourself, if you believe that anything is possible, that you can work towards any goal, you know that now you don't have to be someone else's underling. And you can do whatever you want. But if you are afraid, if you carry self-doubt, you are going to be dependent on people who know better.
Right.
And they don't know better.
Right.
You have everything that you need. Ask questions. Be loud. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Failure is temporary. It's not failing, it's a lesson. What did you learn from what you experienced? And how can you move forward from the lessons that you learned? But we're so afraid to get anything wrong. We're so afraid to say, I made a mistake. We're so afraid to say, I can't afford it. These are all of the things that are holding you back.
Absolutely.
So you have to open up. You have to talk to your peers. Talk to the peers that are positive. That arrogance that you talked about, talk to them. Because they're not as concerned with, I cannot afford it. They're more concerned with, how can I afford it? Because I refuse to stay in this box.
So the comment, sorry, go ahead.
No, I refuse to be limited by what everybody else believes. That's why I said I don't believe in norms.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, but that's a good segue into your next question, which is, throughout this, who has been your biggest supporter? Because not everyone believes in that type of lifestyle or that type of thinking. So how, who did you find, or who found you, or who was in your life that who supported you through this process?
So I'll say this. I saw this meme, and it's been kind of going around. It says that people who are more successful than you will never criticize you. And I will say that that is such a true statement. People who have been where I have been, who have accomplished a whole lot more than I have accomplished, are my support system. Why? Because they know what it is to be where I am. They know what it is to work out of that box. And they see the potential in me that I didn't see in myself. And so they speak that way. And then they help me see that I've been looking at it all wrong. And so that is my job. My job is to now help other people. That's why I created the movement, help them see you've been lied to. And you can do whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. And let's talk about what it is you want. If you want a multi-million-dollar house, don't be afraid to say, I want a multi-million-dollar house. Why? Because it's not, when I said head in the clouds, people believe, that's not realistic. Why isn't it realistic? Why isn't it realistic? I mean, we can come up with a plan to get that. But if you're already saying it's not realistic, now I can't remember who said it, but the saying says, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think myself. I want to say that Roosevelt something. I'm probably way off.
But I just heard it to anybody.
I know, I'll look it up because I just heard it actually the other day. I just heard that. I just heard it the other day. Now you're gonna have me, luckily, you gotta love computers, right? You're on the computer doing a podcast, so why not look it up? Because now it's gonna bother me.
And you know what? I love that you just did that. You know why? Because that is what I've been grooming my daughter to do since she was like 6 years old. I feel like we are so dependent on what someone else says as opposed to the truth.
Henry Ford.
Find it. Okay. There you go.
That Roosevelt. What am I thinking? Henry Ford. Yes. Yeah. But so now you mentioned what your supporters do for you, but you didn't mention who your supporter was.
Well, actually my mentor.
Okay.
So, and it's funny because I think that the masses, okay, so I have this talk that I do, and I talk about how we relate to money. So how the haves relate to money and how the have-nots relate to money. And, within middle class, lower income, we believe that everything is going to cost us. We're so afraid to ask for help because what is it going to cost me? What is it going to cost me? What is it going to cost me? Right? If someone already has money, they're not looking to charge you. They're not looking to charge you to share their information, their knowledge, to help guide you through. They're not going to charge you. But what they want from you is the commitment to follow through with what you learn. Are you going to apply it?
Yeah.
And so I say my mentors because I feel like within lower income and middle class, we're afraid to get mentors because we're so afraid of how much is it going to cost? What is it costing you not to do it?
Right.
That's the question.
And they're worried about being judged. That's a big thing.
All of that, you have to throw all of that out the window.
Right. You know what? I ask you because you actually reminded me. I had to look it up real quick, but have you ever read the book Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols?
Not yet. I have it in my library.
Okay. Yes. Please read that because that is very like what your movement is about. They're very similar. And it will give you some more golden nuggets. Yes, me too. I believe it or not, I was an ambassador for Abundance Now, but I was out in Europe, so it was like I didn't have anyone to really make because it was supposed to be you make like have abundance now parties and you guys all get yourself financially ready, which is again like another movement. That's why I was like, oh my God, this is very similar.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't know anyone out here. So I wanted to use that as a means to get people together, but
yes.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. At least I have, it was the information that I got from it, and I did get to gift the book out to a couple of people. So that was my sharing of abundance into the world.
Absolutely. No. Don't laugh at that, because that's the truth. That is the truth. You start cracking those books and you learn stuff you just did not know.
Yes. So
Ty Lopez said it. Ty Lopez said that people who are dying to share their info. Yes, they're dying to share their information with you. He did this interview with Tom Bilyeu, who I love, by the way, Impact Theory. So he did this interview with him, and so Tom asked him, well, what do you mean? He said, all of these books that they have written, like all of their secrets are in their books.
Oh yeah.
And yes. And so I have not read so much in all of my life. I will tell you that. But I will tell you, the light came on.
Oh yeah.
The light came on.
You think about like how in school we might have complained like having to read for class, and was like, I don't want to read that. And I look at my kids now too, and I just remember like us not wanting to read, and then or like don't want to be bothered, or just because we just wanted to skim the notes. You remember when it was like, I don't even know if they have this anymore, Cliff Notes. And we
I think we're gonna say Cliff Notes.
Yes, when you're like, oh, let me read the Cliff Notes and write about it. But we didn't realize how much of the meat we were missing. Like Cliff Notes is like imitation meat. Like the imitation crab. You know what I mean? You get a little bit, tastes a little bit like it, but it's not really. Like, let me tell you, when I learned later about the meat of the books, it really just blows your mind. And it's funny because I remember my dad having conversations with me and saying like, oh, I'm always reading. You should always, be open to, learning and education, and you see what I'm doing. And then I used to be like, just like, okay, Dad, in my mind, like, whatever, Dad, right? But now I'm saying the same stuff to my daughters. Because like my daughter doesn't want to, she's like, I don't want to read, blah, 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 blah. The only time I liked to read was reading out loud in class.
Really?
I love to read out loud in class because
I was opposite. I didn't like to read out loud.
I don't know why, because it was just like, to me, I guess I was, in that sense, I was bougie, because I was like, I'm going to read this and I'm going to sound the best in my class and make this as animated as possible. And it was a practice for me, because I like to practice how I enunciate it, which of course a lot of kids didn't like me for that, because they were like, who do you think you are? But it was just a practice for me. But I noticed
it's a gift that you have. I will tell you that. It's a gift you have. So I'm glad that you always like doing it.
I'm glad that I do, because even in my class right now, they're like, well, Miss Nikki always likes to read. Let her read. And it's just, it's because it's something where you can make someone like engaged into the story, and you can make it exciting. And I'm trying to tell my kids about the same excitement that you can get in books. But I'm telling them the same thing that you just said about that there's secrets in the books and you're missing out because you're not reading it. And that's where we fail, because no one wants to read, because you think like it's beneath you. And the reality is like, you have no idea how your life could be opened up to better and newer things if you just open a book. And I have to say, I love audiobooks because I can listen to it and it brings me there, and because of my lifestyle, it just makes it easier. But nothing beats opening a book and reading from the pages and being able to mark off things and put notes. And I tried to do the Kindle stuff, and I have to say, like, it's just not the same. It's not the same, and it's stress on your eyes. For me.
I do. No, and you're right. So I'll say this. we all have our different styles and what we like and what appeals to us, right?
Right.
So I do like the hardcover. Like I do like a physical book, but I don't like to write in my books. I like to keep them pristine. So I waste a lot of money. Well, I can't say I invest a lot of money. So I do have the audio version, not the audio version, the Kindle version. Why? Because my Echo Dot will read it out loud. And so I can listen to a book and then go back to my Kindle version, highlight it, make notes, and do all of the things that you do in your paper book. But for me,
no, I don't write in my book because I'm the same as you.
don't? Okay.
I think about the resale value. I'm like, you can't resell it if we got no. I put notes in there, like things that you put in the book. So you'll have like different pages, like papers and hanging out of the book.
Yes.
No, girl, I don't write in my books. I feel the same way.
So one thing I want to say, because I love that you said that your dad said, and then one day it dawned on you, and now you say to your kids. But what I'd like to encourage you to do is share your mindset. Like, I think that that's where we go wrong, because we want people to copy our behavior without understanding, where our heart for what we're doing comes from.
Right. No, they know. Trust and believe. They know mama mindset. I do share that. They probably get enough of that.
And I had this conversation.
Later, but
that's true. That is true. I had this conversation with my friend yesterday about intrinsic, and I can't think of the other word, but basically it is internal motivation and external motivation. And Dan Pink is who she said talked about the intrinsic motivation, right? And so that is why with the whole school system thing, because I'm sorry, I am not trying to blame school systems, but they're responsible for a lot of our habits. So when you said when we were in school, we tried to get by. You know why? Because a lot of teachers try to get by. You get what I'm saying to you? And, so they have to give us all of these external carrots to try and motivate us to do what we're supposed to do so that they can get their job done. It's just a job for them. Look at it this way. Have you ever had a teacher that moved you to actually want to learn their subject?
I have to say, I don't want to, the teachers we had back in the day, I think are completely different than what is today. Now, again, I'm not blaming necessarily the teacher. There are some teachers that you just like, why are you even in the classroom? Really, seriously. And then there are some other teachers that are really dedicated, but they get stopped because of what the administration is telling them. They're not able to work at their full potential, one, because of money, of course, and then they're being stopped by the administration. And so they're not able to actually touch the kids that they should. I have had teachers where to this day, like I'm still in communication with them because they allow me to find interest in the learning and just in believing in me. To let me know that I'm intelligent, like I can move forward, I could do better and more things in life. And so, and that was earlier on. No, I did have some in my senior year too. And that was because it was outside of the norm, I have to say. The class itself was outside of the norm, which created a bond. It was a starter program. It started a bond. But there are teachers that really went above and beyond, like like Mr. Smith, like he was our father, our gym teacher, our pastor. He was like everything. And he just made you want to come to class, and he kept it real. He kept it professional, and he kept it fun. And that was like something that I could say stood out to me. As far as like with the kids today, I don't know. Like I went to the school system, and we're gonna get back to.
No, we are,
financial one.
because part of what you said, I want to kind of
Right.
insert. So yes, I'm listening.
But when I went and I taught in the school system, and I did it in different aspects because my degree is in dance, so I have an actual teaching degree in New Jersey to teach dance. So I taught in the dance field as well as a substitute for any subject.
Okay.
And I have to tell you, I was disheartened, especially going back to our alma mater. I was like, what are they doing? They changed everything up completely, and people are no longer, I feel like the aspect of learning is gone. It's now, let me teach you how to memorize so you can pass this test, so that way our numbers look good, so that way we can beg for funding. That's not the way it should be. And so then we wonder why our kids are the way they are, because they're and that's not in every school. You can see the difference in the learning because of the class level, which is crap. Can I just say, like, even though I had to deal with racial issues when I was in Europe, I can appreciate the education there. I appreciated the education, and even the schools that really boiled my, they got me boiling because of the treatment that they have from my daughter.
Oh, wow.
Even at their minimal, she's still got a better education. That's a shame, and that's a shame. So yes, but anyway, let's go back. Tell your point, and then once you say your point, I want you to go into the question of, because this could be a whole other conversation, girl.
I hear you.
Go into the question of how you feel that you are like providing, or what you're doing for the community, like how you feel like you're.
Okay, good, because I think the two are related, right?
Okay.
So what we just talked about with the whole education thing is, look at it this way. This is the masses. What that conversation we just had has affected the masses. Now imagine a Mr. Smith coming out in your day-to-day life, encouraging you, letting you know that life could be so different, and to help you remove all of those limiting beliefs that you cannot, and is helping, guiding you towards the life that you want to live. That is the movement.
Yes.
Picture that. A bunch of Mr. Smiths. You become a Mr. Smith. You help someone else become a Mr. Smith. Why? Because for whatever reason, when they see life differently, they touch you differently because they believe it with their whole heart. They see it, they believe it, now they see it in you. And they help you remove all of those things that you've learned, all of the fear, the self-doubt. I can't speak in public. You don't have that issue, but I'm just saying, I can't speak in public. And we all have our own, weaknesses, but they help you strengthen those weaknesses into your strengths. So it is taking a holistic approach to healing the world, to letting them know, no, you are not put on this earth to serve someone else. You are here to live a fulfilled life, and let me take you by the hand so you can live that fulfilled life.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's it. That's all I got.
No, that's not all you got, because you got to answer the question about how you feel that you are adding value to your community.
That's it.
Oh.
Seriously, no, seriously, because the thing is, like, I had this conversation with this guy from India, right? We just met. We're both podcasters, and I asked him, had he been to America? And he said no. And he said, have you been to India? And I said, not yet. And so then we started talking about, like, I want to be a jet setter. I want to go all around the globe because we are a very interglobal, interdependent society. But why am I not going to all of these different countries and learning their culture and, you know, living life, having those experiences? Why? Because I'm tied to the desk. The Globetrotters are the ones that we generate wealth for, because we generate wealth every day, just not for ourselves. That's why I said stop giving away our power and stop giving away our money.
Absolutely.
But we are stuck to the desk so that they can enjoy life and go out and have those experiences that we all want. And so my job, the whole point of the movement, me adding value to the masses, is to help people understand, you know what? You do not have to be tied to the desk. The life that you imagine for yourself, like the life you've dreamed of before life started kicking you in the teeth and letting you know you can't afford this and you can't afford that and you don't understand this and you can't, all of those can'ts, remove them.
Yes.
That's the value that I'm bringing to people.
Okay.
That's the value.
That's right, Helaina. You're like, you can be Mrs. Smith. You can be Mrs. Smith. And you can be Mrs. Smith. I had to do it. I had to do it. When you said it, I was like, oh, I have to do it. I have to do it. I was like,
yes, you can. You can be Mr. Smith.
yes. Okay. So what tips or advice would you give to someone who is sitting on the fence of their field of dreams?
Start asking yourself questions. And what questions you need to ask yourself is, what are you afraid of? Why do you think you can't? Who can help me get through this? You know, because the thing is, we put a large emphasis on socioeconomic status. What you do for a living. Do you have a degree? How much you make? And for whatever reason, these are the important people. These are the people who have the expertise. I'm sorry. No. You can do whatever you want at any level, no matter what you're doing today. It is not about who you are here, now, and today. It is who you want to be, what you want to accomplish, and stop being afraid of what it is that you want. And the reason you're on the fence is because of self-doubt. You're questioning your ability to be able to accomplish. And so that's why you have to get to the root of why you feel that way. Because no one is controlling your money but you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. A job is only going to pay you but so much. But what you do with the money you receive is up to you.
Yeah.
And just like wealthy people make money with their money, you need to make money with your money.
Absolutely.
So you are in your own way, and I want you to ask yourself, get to the root cause. Why can't you? Who says you can't? Who's in control? You're in control, and you only get one life. And if you don't want to live a life of regret, you need to remove all of those limiting beliefs. So ask yourself questions.
And make moves towards your goals.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
All right, so here comes the fun time of the interview, the lightning round. Okay, let's see here. Let's get this lightning round going. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you answer it. I always say short and sweet, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. It's all good.
I'll try.
Yes, it's all good. Here we go. Number 1, what initially held you back from your commitment to change? Meaning, what could have held you back? See, we already started wrong. What could have held you back with your decision to commit your life to middle class to wealthy?
Whew. I feel like as adults, we are afraid to go out and build new relationships. And initially, it held me back. But you know what? I have a gift. My gift is to help people remove their obstacles. Mm-hmm. So if I keep my mouth shut, if I don't build relationships, we're destined to stay the way we are.
Okay. So what is the best advice that you have ever received?
Do it. Just do it. Do it scared. Even if you're unsure, make a mess. We always have the opportunity to clean up, but just do it.
Just do it. Don't sue us, Nike, please. All right, Helaina, please share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
Reading and listening. Not just one. Reading and listening.
Yeah.
Because, we don't know what we don't know. And so to be enlightened, we have to grow every day.
Mm-hmm.
To be enlightened, we have to get other perspectives. And so reading and listening, and to positive messaging, not just anything.
Right. Okay. So since you said reading, you have to tell us, what book would you recommend to the C2C audience and why?
I'm going to do two.
Okay.
Okay. The first one is Outwitting the Devil, my absolute favorite book by Napoleon Hill. Why? So it is supposed to be a candid conversation with the devil, right? But he talks about stuff that keeps us from success. And so the devil is being completely open. He cannot lie. He has to tell the truth. And it talks about all of this stuff it talks about fear. It talks about procrastination. It talks about our school system. It talks about, even church. But it just talks about like good people perpetuating the notion that you can't be or do more. So that's my absolute favorite book. And if you undo all of the stuff that you learned from the book, you're already moving forward. That's why.
Okay.
And then the second book is Mindset by Carol Dweck. And the why is because, so there's growth mindset and fixed mindset. And first, I did not know they existed. And it talked about, it's such a great book, but it talks about like, I think that we believe that winning is a permanent thing. Like we've accomplished our goal, that's it. We're going to be on top for forever. No, you win every day.
Yeah.
You can fall right back down to the bottom. And so that's what fixed and growth mindset is about. So now if we've accomplished something, now we get afraid to be exposed that we don't know everything. But if you have a growth mindset, what you know and what you've learned already is your starting point. And you can always expand from there. But somebody with a fixed mindset is like, this is it. And they want to perpetuate the image so badly that they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to grow any further. So that's why.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us. I will definitely look it up and have something else on my audiobook playlist. So last question, and this one is a doozy. If you found out that you had 1 hour left to live and you were given the opportunity to just share one final message, what would it be?
Don't live a life with regret. So do as much as you can, as much as you want, learn as much as you can, share as much as you can, build relationships, but never leave something you want to do undone.
Okay. That touched me right there. Because regret is, what is it? is there a thing? Regret is the mother of all evils or something. I had a quote about regret, but yeah,
There is but I don't know what it is. But I
there's
mean,
there's a lot, I'm sure.
yes, I'm
So-
sure. I'm sure. But no, don't live a life with regret.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
no. And if there's anything from now that you have been regretting, like let it go. You can't do anything about it unless it's something that you can do now, because there's some things you just can't do
Go
from
back
the
and
past.
do.
You can't go back and do,
Yeah.
but there's some things that you can say, okay, I put it on pause and I'm going to do it now.
Absolutely.
So definitely don't live a life of regret. Just work towards your goals and work from today. So it is our time. So I have to say it was a pleasure having you. Please tell our audience where they can find you, find out what you're doing, listen to your podcast, the whole shebang.
I think the best place to go is my website, middleclasstowealthy.com. My Facebook is on there. My phone number is on there. My email is on there. My Instagram is on there. My Twitter is on there. My YouTube is on there.
Okay.
So that's the best place for you to go because I can always be found.
Okay.
What I am doing, I am working to help enlighten the world, make them aware that you are limitless. There is nothing you cannot accomplish. If you need help, if you need guidance, call me. If I can't answer the question, I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction.
All right. Just call her if you need someone to talk to. Call her. Oh my goodness. All right. So that is a wrap. Thank you so much for being a VIP guest on the C2C podcast, Miss Helaina Jeannot. And thank
you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. And we hope that you feel inspired to keep moving forward towards your goals and stick with or make a commitment to change your life. Please make sure to check out the links provided by our guests and share today's podcast and information with anyone you feel might benefit from it. And remember, in order to get to the top of the steps, you have to take the first step, but just don't step on anyone on the way up because you just might trip. This is Miss Nikki. Till next time. Woohoo! It's over. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.